Welcome back to another exciting episode of MSU Tonight. I'm Madison Miller.
And I'm Drayton Charlton Perrin. We have a lot of good stuff planned for you tonight, so let's dive right in.
Tonight's show is jam-packed, isn't it, Drayton?
It sure is. Whether you're into sports, student life, or just want a good laugh, we've got it all for you tonight.
Coming up, Hot Topics. First up on Hot Topics, Joe Reeves will give us a little insight into the world of intramural flag football.
Intramural sports on the campus of Murray State University is loved by many and hated by some. It is looked forward to by a lot of students, and some students may not know too much about it. Today I have Alcoholic Anonymous' Turner Humphrey. He spoke on his experience from the season, his expectations for the postseason, and a little bit of advice for anyone aspiring to play flag football here for Murray State.
This year's been a lot of fun. I've had a lot of fun playing, especially since I used to play back in high school. If you used to play in high school, it's a lot of fun to come out, relive some memories, play some flag football. If you've never played football before, it gives you a chance to learn the game, maybe start watching it, start playing. But just having an overall fun time with your friends is the best part. Every week we come out and play, win or loss, we still have fun. Other teams are really respectful. You can have fun with them too. And if you want to, you can even mess around. Everyone makes the playoffs, but like I said, the regular season record plays a big role in the seeding. There's a lot of teams in there. If you have a good seed, you get a bye, so that's really good. Good extra time to rest and just hang out with your friends if you want to. But winning, I would like to win. At least go play to the second round. If you can create a team, that's perfect. Then you can play with all your friends. If you don't have people that want to play, you can always sign up as a free agent. Someone can pick you up. No one's expecting you to know everything, how to play, know what to do. We really just want to be out there and having fun and teaching people, getting some exercise in, and meeting new people.
Last Thursday, Murray State Career Services hosted a game night for students on the lower level of the Curris Center. They enjoyed Chick-fil-A and teamed up for an evening of Murray State-themed charades and trivia with an added round of Disney trivia. The top two teams received prizes which included fall blankets and fun socks. The event raised awareness about career services while also helping students unwind. Matt Purdy, Director of Career Services, shared that the turnout exceeded expectations and is already planning to make next year's event bigger and better.
With Thanksgiving break just a week away, Murray State University is preparing for the holiday season. Residence halls will close on Wednesday, November 27th at 9 a.m. and reopen on Sunday, December 1st at 2 p.m. Students needing to stay on campus during this time must submit interim housing applications quickly, as space is very limited. If your current hall closes, you might be reassigned to one that's open. And for anyone planning ahead, winter interim housing is also available, but it's first come, first served, and space is limited. Remember, there's a fee of $126 per week, and all changes must be made by Friday, December 1st.
The Murray State basketball team played against Bethel in their first home game of the season on November 4th. They won the game in dominating fashion with a final score of 113-37. At the end of the game, Murray State native Trey Bogus scored his first career points with the team. This moment sparked much excitement amongst Murray fans who grew up in the area. We spoke with Trey to describe his emotions in that moment.
Definitely a lot of emotions. I thought I was going to be a lot more nervous, but when I checked in the game, I really wasn't that nervous. Hearing the crowd behind me as I was taking off my warm-up was super cool. But after scoring, I just remember just looking back at the play, Mason was dribbling, he was looking at me and smiling, and he threw it up to me. And I remember I really wanted to try to dunk it, but I knew there was a guy behind me, and I just didn't want to risk it. So just try to lay it up. And after I did, I remember just running back, just smiling, I just couldn't stop smiling because just knowing everything that I've been through and knowing, the history and the culture of Murray State basketball and knowing, I was a little kid at one point, dreaming to be a Murray State basketball player, and now that, it's come to fruition, it's just a feeling, an emotion that I can't even describe, so.
The Racers take on Maryland Eastern Shore tomorrow for their second home game of the season. We will make sure to be keeping an eye out for Trey and wish him and the Racers the best of luck this season.
On Friday, November 8th, the Department of Art and Design held their 31st art auction. The event, which was free and open to the public, saw a great turnout of those looking to buy art from students and alumni. This annual auction helps fund scholarships for art students at Murray State and is a point of pride for artists and buyers. Registration opened for the auction at 6 and the live auction started at 7, with the silent auction running throughout. The Associate Professor of Art and Design, Dr. Rebecca Williams, led the event. There were several artists featured, including student Ariane Christine and Professor Sarah Martin. The Department of Art and Design has many opportunities every semester to support them, so keep your eyes open for the next one.
That's all for Hot Topics. Stay tuned after the break for the Stadium Lot. All right.
Welcome back to Murray State Tonight. You're here with the Stadium Lot. I'm Zach Simmons.
I'm Drayton Charlton Perrin.
I'm Joe Reeves.
And we're going to go ahead and get right into the results from the past weekend. We're going to start with volleyball, a weekend doubleheader starting on Friday, a 3-0 loss to Bradley. Ella Vogel, 13 kills, which is second most on the game. Bailey Demir, 25 assists, and Dahlia Miller with 21 digs, both game highs. Drayton, what did you think about that game?
Yeah, so that game against Bradley was a tough one, right? Because Murray State already earned their spot in the MVC tournament. They're one of the top 8 teams. Bradley is still fighting for that spot. They're still trying to make sure they can get in. So they had this extra hunger going into that game away at Murray State, knowing here's a team that's already made it. Let's go and beat them, and then let's find our way into the tournament. And so they just brought that extra energy. And like you said, Bailey Demir, again, with those assists, she's been fantastic all season. She's clearly been, in my opinion, the best player for the Racers, because without her, without that focal point on offense, you can't get the ball to your weapons like Vogel, who leads the team in kills and stuff like that. So I do think it wasn't a terrible performance from Murray, but I think Bradley just wanted it more.
I absolutely agree. Going to Saturday, 3-1 loss to Illinois State. Federica Nuccio and Lily Burnett, double-digit kills, 14 and 10 respectively. Bailey Demir, again, 38 assists, continuing to set up her teammates. And I think the biggest thing here is the hit percentage was 319 to 279 in favor of Illinois State. Drayton, what did you see from Illinois State out there?
Yeah, so I was very curious going into this game to see what would happen, because obviously the Racers had gotten sweeped the night before against Bradley. How are you going to respond against Illinois State? And they won the first set. It was a hard-fought set. It was a very close set, and they got the first set done. And so I think everybody in the arena was thinking, okay, Murray State's coming out tonight. They're not going to let this happen again. But then they proceeded to lose the next 3. Illinois State beat them 3-1. But again, it was really just player-led mistakes. It was trying to get up on the net, missing blocks. It was not chasing after balls. It was errant serves, errant shots. It was just a lot of player-led mistakes. Now, the one thing that I'll say works in Murray State's favor is that because they're already guaranteed a spot in the MVC tournament, they can put all their focus on that, learn from their mistakes against the Redbirds, and they can come out strong in the tournament.
Murray State also today just lost 3-1 to Belmont, a couple close sets there. Don't have the stats on our graphics, but we're going to move to Saturday's football game where Murray State played the University of Kentucky. Kentucky continues to duck Murray State basketball. I've been trying for 2 years to get this game to happen. It still doesn't. 48-6 loss, and I think one of the biggest differences we saw from the football team was freshman quarterback Jim Ogle. Came in and played. He was 10 for 24, 156 yards, threw 2 interceptions, unfortunately. So the only scoring the Racers got was from James London. Joe, what did you see out of the Racers here that they can kind of take into this game against Southern Illinois to finish the season?
I mean, like you said, the highlight of the game was Ogle, man. He came in, hasn't played pretty much the whole season, and he filled in some shoes that's just been empty. Besides the 2 picks, he didn't look like he was scared, playing an SEC opponent. He just he was going through the motions, but still that score, pretty much tells the story on the whole season. It's just, been a very disappointing season, but it's been a tough season. We played 2 SEC opponents this season, and, despite UK's differences in their season, they're not, top of their conference. They're still, a FBS SEC team. So at the end of the day, results is pretty much what we expected. Hopefully going into next season, these tough games this season will make next season easier, So That's pretty much all you can really say.
Massive talent discrepancy
Yes.
on display in Lexington. We're going to move on to women's basketball, who traveled to number 7th ranked LSU, where they were competing. They were up at halftime. They scored 32 points in the second quarter on Kim Mulkey's Tigers, but ultimately couldn't get the job done, losing 74-60. Ava Learn had a double-double, 18 points, 10 rebounds. She just continues to be a dominant force. Haven Ford, stuff in the stat sheet, 10 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 steals. And I think the dark spot of the game for the Racers in this one was Caitlin Young went 3 for 12 from the field with 8 points and 8 rebounds. So still close to a double-double, just didn't have the shooting night. I heard from one of the players in a class said that if they were just a couple inches taller all across the board, they probably would have won this game, and they really feel like they learned quite a good amount from this game. We move to men's basketball now, who went down to Middle Tennessee, one of the oldest foes that the Racers have. It was the 147th meeting, and the Racers passed with flying colors. They beat Middle Tennessee by 21 points, 88-67, led by Kyron Lindsay with 27 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists, 5 blocks. He was named Missouri Valley Conference Player of the Week for that performance. A.J. Ferguson right behind him with 16 points, 4 rebounds, an assist, a block, and a steal. He was 4 for 4 from the three-point line, and Jacoby Wood doing what he's continued to do all year, step up for the Racers, 15 points, 6 assists, and he did all this he played 7 minutes in the first half. He got into foul trouble with about 12 and a half minutes, but he continued to just parlay. And I think the one thing for the Racers is they didn't allow Middle Tennessee to hit a lot of threes. Middle Tennessee had some good looks throughout the game, was not able to make a lot of them, but defense pressure was there for the Racers. We're going to go ahead and look ahead to this week. We've got men's basketball versus Maryland Eastern Shore. Drayton, you talked about that in one of our earlier segments, and I think the notes that we can show about this is Murray State ranks in the top 20 nationally in a couple of categories. They are number 6 in three-point percentage at 46, number 7 in field goal and effective field goal percentage with 55 and 64, 17th in scoring margin with 27.3, and they're top 20 in three-point defense at teams only shooting 24% from the three-point line. The Racers also will play against Utah Valley on Friday. Utah Valley, not really much to say about them. They've got 5 players averaging double digits, so that's definitely going to force the men's basketball team to really step up defensively, but it seems like they've been up to the task so far this year. Utah Valley picked to finish 5th in the Western Athletic Conference. Moving to women's basketball, they play Memphis on Saturday. It's the second time these two teams will meet. The first time was a 69-59 win for the Racers down in Memphis in 2009. Memphis currently 2-2 in those standings. Now we're going to go to football. They play on Saturday against SIU, final game of the 100th season. The record is 10-11-2. It's Murray State, so they have 1 loss more than SIU. It's always competitive. I think SIU's won 4 straight in this. I would consider it a rivalry. I don't think a lot of people that go to Murray like SIU. And I think something else we got to note, Jacqueline Carter, 2 yards away from 500 receiving yards. Drayton, when somebody's got a stat like that they're close to, how much does that fuel them in the game to get that stat and help the team win?
Well, I don't actually think that's going to fuel him. Like you said, he's 2 yards away to 500. Now, 500, yeah, it's always nice to say, hey, I got this many yards or whatever, but that's not necessarily an exceptional number, right? Receivers don't really get super excited about their stat numbers unless we're talking 4 digits, unless we're talking 4,000. So going into this game 2 yards away from 500, he's thinking, well, I have 2 or 3 catches a game, so I know I'm already going to hit that number. I'm not worried about that. I'm just going to go out there and play really hard. And Southern Illinois, their starting quarterback got hurt at the start of the season, was former Murray State quarterback DJ Williams, broke his hand, and he's still out. And SIU has not been able to really come back from that. Their backup quarterback, he's been doing an okay job, especially for a backup, but they just haven't been able to find the wins. And so now Murray State played a pretty nice game against Kentucky, against an SEC team. And so going into this week, you want to get that second win, right? You're tired of losing. They've lost the last 10 straight. Now we're playing against a wounded Southern Illinois team. I think Murray State has a real chance at winning this game. And I think if they play the same kind of offense they played last week against Kentucky, maybe have Ogle starting at QB, I think they have a real shot to win this one.
Joe, you've been around the football team, filming practices, filming games. What is kind of the mindset of everybody going into this game against SIU?
You know, despite the lackluster season, the energy has still been high. You know, coaches are still on their tails, and you know, players are still bringing the energy to pretty much every practice. So that's been very encouraging from what I've seen. And I think, like you said, they can take advantage of this SIU team that's a little banged up, and you know, maybe find that second win and take, you know, the momentum from this last game, and like I said earlier, carry it over to the next season.
That'll be good, and that's all we have. Thanks for hanging with the Stadium Lot. Up next, another questionable debate on the other side.
Good evening, America. My name is Isaac Gallimore. Today with me on this lovely debate stage, we have beloved DJ, Joe Reeves, and over here, we have our beloved AGR member, Jake. These two gentlemen will be debating for us on a yes and no topic over a couple of questions I'll be asking them. They will have both a moment to address the topic and to defend their positions and argue with the other person. We begin tonight with our first question. Agriculture is an important part of our country, and we need to dedicate more land and resources to farmers. On the affirmative side, we have Joe. We'll begin with you.
Man, definitely. I grew up on a farm. Oh my gosh. Agriculture. All right. Agriculture is so important. It's got me tearing up. I just love the farm, and I love farm animals. And if you don't agree with me, I'll tell you something. I fight for America. I fight for my cows and my chicken. I love chicken, fried chicken, and cows.
Jake, would you take this moment to rebuke Joe's statement this evening?
You're wrong, okay? You're wrong. Agriculture is overrated. You know, we can eat. What can we eat? You know, all the things you can eat from without farmers in the world. We don't need farming. It's overrated. All farmers do is just talk about their tractors and brag which one has the most money anyway. So might as well cut their egos down, you know.
Where will we get our chicken? No, like, you don't make any sense. Like, what are we gonna do? You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, without all this grass, all this farmland.
It's not just about chicken.
Did you just interrupt me, boy? I said.
Gentlemen, this quorum will take no insulting of the rules. Now, Mr. Reeves, you have the floor. I will let you continue.
Thank you. As I was saying, you get over there and you got your nice jeans on and all of that. I'm over here all black because I absorbed the sun to express it into the field.
Mr. Reeves, we're going to have to cut you off real quick simply because we need to hear one more time from Jake over here about his position simply before we run out of time.
Oh, you know, we don't need farming, and it's all about, you know, where the chickens came from. It's just
froze up. Look at them.
All right, we'll move on to our next topic this evening. Our last and final question for this hour is in regards to a very important topic. We need to hear more from white people. On the negation, we have Jake over here, and we'll let you start off on this topic.
Can you repeat that question?
That we need to hear more from white people.
No,
you're on the negation?
No, that's all we hear from. Just white, you know? We need to hear from the Jamaicans, the Chinese, you know, Guam. We need to hear from...
Don't nobody care about all those people, bro. I'm
yeah,
saying,
all we care about is the whites.
Look at the leaders. Look at the leaders.
It's enough.
Hold on.
It's enough of the whites.
I'm saying,
I'm moderating this debate, sir. Jake, you may finish your point, and then you will allow Mr. Reeves to continue.
You know, we've had, like, since 1776, it's all been white. It's time for something else. It's time to be different.
All right. Joe.
Bro.
You may begin your
look
point.
at, who is it, North Korea? Like, look how messed up it is over there. And then look at what happened to MLK. You know, he stood out for his people and he died. Like, look at Trump, bro. He been going crazy and he's still living. He almost 100. And I mean, he just won the election again from a young, try to be black woman. And it's just like, just look at the legit.
Wasn't she Indian?
She's something. You agreeing with me, ain't you?
She ain't white.
Well, she ain't right neither.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, whoever I'm looking at, I'm just saying, look at me right now. Turn that camera on. Look at me right now. I say this with my whole heart. I love America. I love Alabama Crimson, the Crimson Elephants, and I love white people. Yeah. Please.
Mr. Reeves, I'm going to have to cut you off because we have to hear from Jake one more time, and then we will come back to you. I promise you, sir. Jake?
We've had enough white. It's time for a change. It's time for your people
You
to
sound
stand
like that
up.
little
The
baby
Asians.
boy.
We don't have enough Asian voices out there.
Sound like Tupac and Neil.
See what happened to Tupac.
I'm saying. That's why he shouldn't be making no music. Listen to Morgan Wallen. He ain't dead.
Yeah.
All right. Gentlemen, I believe that's all the time we have for this hour. I thank you both for being here and dedicating your time. I think we've brought some very clear, energetic, and very poignant points of view this evening to the American people. I thank you all for tuning in this evening to MSU Tonight, and we'll hope you'll turn back in again soon to hear from these gentlemen about much more important topics. Thank you again for tuning in.